Hello guys, welcome to the second video of our object-oriented programming playlist. In this video, we'll be learning about member functions and the object-oriented concepts related to it, and then we'll see what are access specifiers. Let us first recap some basic concepts. What are class members? They include data members which are commonly known as variables, which are the properties of the objects. Next, we have the member functions, or simply known as functions, which are the behavior of the objects. Now, how to define a function? The definition of a function has the return type, the function name, and the parameter. The return type may consist of one of the data types or word if it doesn't returns anything. It is then followed by the body of the function. Now we'll see what is function overloading. It is a feature provided by the object-oriented programming by which two or more functions can have same name but different parameters. We can have same or different return types for the overloaded functions. But we should note that even if they have same or different return types, they must strictly have different parameters. Now let us try the function overloading. I have created a class here named as dataType. Now let us try to define some functions. I have typed public here, the importance of which we'll be learning in the video further. Here I have created two functions with the same name. These functions are used by the user when he wants to know what type of data type he has given as an input, as the arguments of this function give data type. Now let us create object for this class. Now let's call the functions by using the dot operator. Now we can see the output here. This line gives the output as this is an integer, and this line gives the output as this is a decimal value. By this feature of function overloading, the user doesn't have to define multiple functions with the multiple names. The user only has to remember a single name. To perform function overloading, you either need to have different type of arguments or different number of arguments like this. Now we can see our desired output here. Now let us see what are access specifiers. They are the keywords which are used to determine the accessibility or the availability of the class members, that is variables and the functions outside the class. In other words, we can say that these are the restrictions of availability of the class members, that is the variables and the functions beyond that class to which they belong. Now let us see the syntax of using the access specifiers. Here I have defined a class ABC which contains two types of access specifiers, type 1 and type 2, and the members which we write below that access specifiers belongs to that type. As in here we can see that variable I belongs to the type 1 and variable j and method k belongs to type 2. Now let us see whether the members I, j and k can be used outside the class ABC and some other classes. Before that, we'll see how many types of access specifiers we have in C++. There are three types of access specifiers in C++. The first one is the public. The members which are declared as public can be accessed from anywhere outside the class. The second type are the private members. These members can be accessed only inside the class. The third type is the protected. The members which are declared of this type can be accessed from inside the class and also by the subclass or derived class, or also known as the child class of that particular parent class. Now let us try these access specifiers one by one. I have created a new class named as student. Now let us add some members to it. First I include a library string to use the data type. As we saw earlier, that the members which are declared as private cannot be used outside this class, and the members which are defined as public can be used anywhere outside the class. Now let's try to create an object for the student class and try to access the private and the public members. Before that, we'll define a function which can return these variables. Now we'll add some data to the data members which are declared as public, that is the name variable and the roll number. Now we'll retrieve this data by the functions we defined earlier. Now let's run it. Now we can see here the object S1 has stored the data into the public variables roll number and the name as they were public. So we were able to access them outside this class student. Now let us try to access the variable which is declared as private, that is string id. Now let's try to run it. We can see the error here. It says that the string id is declared as private. From the definition, we can recall that the members which are declared as private cannot be accessed anywhere outside this class. Now you all must be wondering that if we can't access the private members outside the class, then why do we even need it? What is the use of it? So in object-oriented programming, we can't directly access the private members, but we can access it indirectly using the getters and setter methods. The setter methods sets the value of the private members while the getters retrieve the value of those private members. Now let us define the getter and setter for this private string ID. I will rename this as getID. Now as you can see here that the void getID, which is the getter method for the ID variable, and the setID, which is the setter method for the ID variable, is declared as public as it is written below the public keyword. As these methods are public, we can access them outside the class, and these methods being inside the class, they can access the private variables of that class. Now let us put data into this ID variable using this getters and setter method. We can use the set method as it is public. And we can retrieve that ID using the get method. Let's run it. You can see that we have successfully accessed a private variable indirectly. You must be thinking that we can directly or indirectly access the private variables. So why don't we just declare it as public? So this helps in preventing the users of your code to enter the data which they are not supposed to, as the members which are declared as private may be sensitive for further working of your code. This can be achieved by putting the conditions in the setter methods. We'll learn about the protected members when we learn inheritance further in the playlist. One last thing, if you don't mention any access specifier before the members, it is by default declared as private. This is the scope of the access specifiers in various conditions. Now, what is the significance of access specifiers? It helps us to avoid any unnecessary penetration from outside programs and outside classes. And it also helps in encapsulation. It is the mechanism of binding the data and the function together as a single unit. As we saw in the code, we use the private data members and the public member functions together. And this is nothing but encapsulation. Thank you.